Hey guys, great to be live with you again. Okay, today we're going to talk about a mega church pastor here in Houston who was just ordered to pay millions affecting someone with an STD. Now, this is more than a sensational story. There's actually practical news you can use in this report as well. We're also going to catch you up on Israel and Hamas. Also highlight a documentary that just came out that could destroy the climate change agenda and, God forbid, bring people together. And then I'm going to finish with some lighthearted, positive news. A 12-year-old boy who actually drowned and his sister allegedly sang him back to life, kind of like a miracle. And then why girls actually want to change their heel height based on the man they're with. All right, let me check your comments. Thanks for joining me live. Hello. Okay, so we have this pastor out of Houston. Let me just show you the Daily Mail's report on this. Texas mega church pastor Ralph Douglas West II is ordered to pay women that he met on Facebook $2.45 million after he gave her herpes. The Daily Mail actually did a terrible job covering this. So actually, I looked at different news reports. My former outlet, Fox 26 Houston, covered this the best, I think. Give credit where credit is due. Maybe they're changing their ways. Hallelujah. They actually made this a helpful news report. So Fox 26 Houston reporting Pastor Ralph Douglas West in Houston ordered to pay $2.45 million after found liable for spreading genital herpes. In Harris County, a jury reached a verdict in the case of a Houston area pastor, finding him liable for transmitting genital herpes and ordered to pay for damages. Ralph Douglas West II, an assistant pastor at the Church Without Walls in Houston, was found liable in the case of DC versus Ralph Douglas West II for battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and fraudulent concealment. Who knew that giving an STD was battery? The news report says that the jury verdict, hold on, let me adjust this. The jury verdict included $1.45 million in compensatory damages and another $1 million in exemplary and punitive damages, resulting in more than $2 million, which is believed to be the largest ever awarded in Texas for a case of this nature. Historic, guys. Now, Sean Murphy, who was a partner at the law firm, he represented the alleged victim in this STD case. He said, quote, "We truly hope that this verdict sends a strong message to people throughout Texas and the United States who are infected with sexually transmitted diseases that they must disclose having the disease before engaging in sexual intercourse with any others. It is also important for those who have suffered harm after being infected due to another's negligence or intentional conduct to know they have a legal remedy." Yeah, did you guys actually know that you can make a ton of money if this happens to you? Good grief, $2.45 million. And it says this case represents one of several trial victories and settlements achieved by Murphy. So this lawyer's crossing the nation, going after people who transmit STDs without letting their partner know. This is the largest verdict financially in Texas, California, and Washington. He said, quote, "I suspect there are many people who don't know that in every state in the U.S. it is unlawful for a person who knows they have a sexually transmitted disease to communicate the disease to another person through sexual conduct." Wild. Real quick shout out to the sponsor of my coverage. The debt spike could ignite a long-term rally in gold. Since March 2020, the U.S. added another $8 trillion in debt, and gold is up 50%. Now, with the Fed raising rates, the interest payment on our debt has surpassed $1 trillion annually. BRICS nations met This summer, an oil-rich nation, Saudi Arabia and the UAE, have joined Russia, China, and India. 51% of Americans can't pay their credit card bills, which just surpassed $1 trillion for the first time in history. If this is Build Back Better, increased spending and regulation is likely to continue through 2024. Buying gold and silver is a strategic play that several countries are doing today. Who's looking out for the little guy when the government doesn't? Isn't it time that you take a look at gold and silver now? Call America's own precious metals company, the National Gold Group, today. Mention my channel, Ivory Hecker, and you'll always get best in class service from America's conservative precious metals leader. National Gold Group has the IRA fee waiver program on qualifying rollovers. Call 888-617-5927. Get a free investor guide today. National Gold Group is a Consumer Affairs top-rated gold IRA dealer. Call 888-617-5927. That's 888-617-5927. Remember, there's always a risk of loss, and past performance is not indicative of future results. All right. Checking your comments. Good morning from Nepal. Wow, I got people in Nepal, and I thought it was now not illegal to spread AIDS. Oh yeah, it's illegal to let to hide that you have the STD and then spread it. You could get fined apparently more than $2 million, as this pastor did. Now, he's the assistant pastor at this church, which allegedly has more than 24,000 members across Houston. They have multiple campuses. I had never heard of this church, but I looked it up, and sure enough, multiple campuses here. The church recently celebrated this pastor for ministering to the Houston area for more than 20 years. I'll just show you a little bit of who this pastor is, who was just fined more than $2 million for spreading herpes.
We know of what he can do if we ever stepped out on faith to see what he can do.
God will give what you need, but you may not get exactly what you want. Some of us have a problem with what God gives if it's not in line with our will.
Anyway, they showed a whole slideshow of him through the years ministering to the congregation, and now a very, very embarrassing news headlines everywhere about this pastor. Now, his alleged victim, her identity has stayed concealed, but she just cashed out more than $2 million. She said that they met on Facebook back in 2018, and then allegedly he concealed that he had the genital herpes, then gave it to her. She breaks out with the herpes, and then is able to confirm that he gave it to her. And so now, after a lengthy few years, she's now cashing out more than $2 million. The church is not seeming to comment. Looks like they have not responded to any media outlets' request for comment on this embarrassing situation. The head pastor is his father. This pastor's father is in charge of the whole church. There's dad, and there is his son, who just embarrassed the church immensely and, did something pretty messed up by infecting someone. I'll show you their Facebook. It has more than 27,000 followers on their Facebook. So this is a pretty big, important church. I'm here in Houston. I had not heard of that church. So you guys wanted to talk about Israel and Hamas. The latest information out of Israel and Gaza is that a hospital has just been attacked, blown up, and hundreds, if not thousands, have been killed. It's really unclear how many people have been killed. And this is in the Gaza Strip, that this hospital was just targeted. Hamas is saying that Israel did it. Israel is saying Hamas did it. A top advisor for Netanyahu just went on CNN this afternoon and said that Israel has confirmed that Hamas had tried to launch a rocket at Israel. It fell short and hit its own hospital in the Gaza Strip. That is Israel's story. Now, Hamas's story is much different. This war is a giant information war, and it's really unclear. It's difficult to tell what is true and what is false. And I think we saw that with Russia and Ukraine as well. And honestly, I think all wars throughout history have largely been, what's in the media. When it comes to war, you have to take with a grain of salt. But we're really learning that more than ever here. Now, the Israeli that I interviewed last week on my YouTube, might want to go check that out. It was very interesting, insightful. But he was saying that Israel, when it started launching rockets, would tell Hamas when and where they would strike, and they would give the heads up so that Hamas could evacuate women and children, but Hamas would not evacuate Gaza, so they would end up killing children inadvertently because Hamas wasn't protecting its own people. Now that's coming from an Israeli. Is that even true? I don't know. It's very hard to tell what's true these days. What I do know is that censorship is sweeping the internet. Instagram is doing an over-the-top job censoring information from both Hamas's side and Israel's side. Twitter, as I can tell, is not censoring so much. Some of the gore and devastation that is being censored on Instagram, you can actually see on Twitter. So for those people who are doubting whether anything is actually happening, you can go to Twitter and kind of see what's really happening. Twitter has a new name these days. Whatever, I like calling it Twitter. Checking your comments. Okay. So the whole thing with Israelis and Palestinians has been going on for decades. And, the U.S. media lives for things like this, where they can shift all their focus on something that's easy to cover, actually, because they know exactly what they're covering, and topics like this are pretty simple and not as difficult of a story to get. You just show the devastation and get people from both sides and call it a day. So the media is totally shifting to that coverage. And meanwhile, what's happening in the U.S.? What all are we not getting coverage of in the United States? That is the issue. I have some concerns about some things that have been passed by Congress to hurt small businesses, such as LLCs and S corps. Huge concerns about what's happening at the border. So, I think we do need to focus more on our border rather than the Israeli-Gaza border. It's horrendously tragic what's happening over there. But here in America, I think we do need to focus more on what we can help our own country with. Yet Biden also, a news report today was that Biden plans to ask Congress for $100 billion to support Israel. Now, over the years, America and Western countries have viewed Hamas as a terrorist organization. So they're going to side with Israel and shell out a ton of money. So we've already been giving so much money to Ukraine. We're going to get more and give it to Israel too, according to Biden, if he has his way. Now, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the U.S. can totally support more wars. So we have that. Those are some of the updates. And it's like, okay, America is going beyond bankrupt. Inflation's out of control, but printing more money to give to foreign nations is going to help our economy. Okay, I'm not sure I believe that. So I think that we need to focus more on our leaders and maybe put Biden and Janet Yellen's feet to the fire and say, why are you destroying American money? You know, the hard work that we Americans put in every day to be able to even pay our bills, to live a somewhat happy life. And you guys are ripping that rug out from under us to send money to feed war overseas. So I think a lot of Americans are upset about that. And so we can make a difference in all of this by holding Biden and Janet Yellen's feet to the fire, which holding Biden to the fire, it's a difficult thing to do when it's unclear if elections even count. Like, oh, let's hold his feet to the fire by voting him out. Is that even a possibility? Does your vote even count? This is why I try to cover elections as much as possible, election anomalies, and try to get to the bottom of whether we still have a say in who our elected official is. As the Israeli I interviewed last week said, it's unclear whether Gaza had any say in the fact that Hamas was elected as their leadership. Would the people of Gaza really want radical terrorists to represent them? Well, it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, and some people doubt whether Hamas was legitimately elected. So, questions about elections. CNN also reported that 17 journalists have now been killed, in addition to the thousands that have been killed over there as well. I used to want to be a war correspondent, but actually I got that out of my system. I now just want a lot of peace. But it's just hard to tell what's really going on with all the censorship. I wanted to mention you guys this documentary that I just saw while I was at this Confluence glamping event that I posted about on Instagram. The documentary they played there is called Common Ground. And I mentioned that this documentary blew my mind, actually. It was on, I walked into the room and I was just like spellbound. And it was so fascinating because what is laid out in this documentary has the potential of uniting capitalists, right-wing capitalists, as well as radical leftist environmentalists, and ripping the rug out from under the global elites who want to spread the climate change agenda, which would take people's liberty away. So Common Ground lays out what regenerative farming is. It's basically going back to the way farmers used to farm before they were bought and paid for by the government with the good old farm bill. The way farmers used to farm is apparently makes farmers way more money and heals the climate, heals the earth, heals the ground, grows healthier plants, healthier crops, non-toxic crops. So what was laid out here, they actually interviewed farmers who said, we're saving so much money, making more money by going back to the old school way of farming. And in doing so, they're deleting the pesticides, and apparently fixing the climate. They're saying they're going to fix climate change, if it's even a thing, but if the people believe it's fixed, it's just crazy. So like people on the left and right are like uniting over this. And I was just like, this is amazing. I mean, I'm very much about organic food. And if there's a way to farm organically that makes farmers more money, and it's just really interesting. Why did they even get to the way they're farming now? Well, it's interesting that the government has a huge hand in how farming happens. Anyway, this documentary really makes you think. And I just wanted to play at least the trailer. I guess you can't see the full documentary other than theaters right now, but check this out.
What I'm about to tell you is a matter of life and death. If the soil dies, we die.
The facts have been proven. Roundup does cause cancer. If you burrow deeply enough, there is a pipeline of money from the pesticide industry into those universities. They're getting the kind of science that money can buy.
Nature is the mother of us all. And if mama ain't happy, we're
But there's a way to save our precious soils. It's called regeneration.
Regeneration is not just restoring the land to the state that we found it at, but actually making it better.
We have added over 96 tons of carbon per acre into our soil. Can we mitigate climate change? Absolutely.
We're going to check the underwear in the regenerative versus the conventional soybean field and see if we can tell a difference between the microbial activity.
We've eliminated insecticides, pesticides, herbicides. We are saving upwards of $400 an acre. It works out to be about $2 million a year in savings. That is serious cash.
I forgot my suit. I feel like I'm underdressed. But if you are the people who can make a change, well, it's high time to finally get regenerative agriculture. Let's prioritize the farmer.
Out here in the fields.
So I wouldn't be surprised at, look at all those actors and big celebrities who are in this documentary. I would not be surprised if something happens to try to shut down the momentum of this documentary is just coming out because there is such an agenda of shutting down and hurting and controlling farmers and government empowerment. And suddenly these actors are coming out talking to Congress about government taking their hands off the farmers and farmers going back to the original way, and that's good for the environment. I'm just like, so we'll see if the momentum can last with this, but it's pretty stunning. It's pretty exciting. So hopefully that can happen. But the Bezos Earth Fund and all those guys, they want to shut farmers down. They want to destroy farming, and at the very least have government's hands all in farming. So Common Ground really shakes things up. Pretty exciting documentary. You guys should go check it out. Yeah. And anyway, okay, I've just been wanting to focus on some uplifting stories, guys. There was a 12-year-old boy who drowned, and his sister allegedly sang him back to life. He's in the ocean, lifeless. He's lifeless for minutes and minutes on end, 45-minute drive to the hospital. Yet he comes back with no brain damage. This is kind of like one of those old miracles from the Bible. It was documented in this news report. Here it is.
In a second, I planned the whole rest of my life without him. I've never known a second could last that long.
Every year, Lindsay and Jared Floyd pack up their family and head to Holden Beach, North Carolina to celebrate the 4th of July with their cousin Leah Snyder and her family.
It was something we always look forward to, something that we almost worked around for the year, looking forward to getting there.
For as long as I can remember, we've always done the 4th of July with my cousin and her husband. It's our Snyder-Floyd beach trip.
On the last day of their 2019 vacation, 12-year-old Levi Floyd played in the shallow water with his cousin while the parents watched nearby. But in what seemed like an instant, they noticed Levi's body floating motionless on the surface of the water. His dad, Jared, quickly made his way to Levi.
I grabbed him. When I grabbed him, he just went under, and I immediately pulled him up and flipped him over. And whenever I flipped him, he was blue, purple. He was lifeless.
His eyes were bulging and bloodshot, and his pupils were fixed. And in maybe a minute's time, maybe if that long, he looked like he had been in that water for a week.
Leah, a nursing student, rushed to the water's edge and began CPR immediately as the family and others on the beach prayed for a miracle.
Anyway, I've actually linked, you guys are asking about the video title. I've linked this whole video, it's pretty long, down in my description. If you guys want to watch this incredible miracle video, such positive energy that we need to bring back into our lives. Anyway, this boy's sister starts leading with this song, singing at the top of her lungs, praise and worship song. I think it was like, I Raise a Hallelujah. And the whole atmosphere kind of shifts, and the boy comes back to life. Anyway, they take him to the doctor 45 minutes away, and the doctor's like, we're not out of the woods yet. He could have brain damage, and turns out once he was fully resuscitated at the hospital, he had no brain damage. So it was like a wild miracle. Miracles still happen. They just don't get covered. So I think that's a wonderful story. Link down in the description for that whole report. And also the Common Ground documentary is linked down in the description as well. If you guys want to look and see if there's a theater near you where that documentary is playing. Now, another thing I forgot to mention about Israel and Hamas is that Washington Times is reporting an Israeli airstrike killed a top Hamas commander in the central Gaza Strip today. The third high-level operative of the Palestinian terrorist group taken out by Israel bombardment of the territory in recent days. So we are hearing a lot about, innocent women and children being killed. They are taking out top leaders of the people causing this as well, is what reports are saying. But again, it's hard to believe anything when you're focusing on war coverage. What's really happening? Who knows? Okay, so I wanted to discuss why women want to change their heel height based on the man that they are with, because it stirred up conversation in my Insta story when I posted Taylor Swift and her new man, Travis Kelce. Okay, guys, I simply posted here that, yay, Taylor gets to wear heels again. And someone said, well, why did she stop wearing heels? I said, because she dated a shorter man for 4 years. And someone said, well, she should have just kept wearing those heels anyway. And so I thought maybe I can add insight on how women feel, that they actually don't want to wear heels that are too high around their man. I can't speak for everyone, but a large number of us girls actually, we feel better when we're shorter than our man. We actually feel more feminine, more protected, more sexy when we are shorter than our man. So if you are with a man who's not that tall, in order to feel feminine and sexy, you lower your own heel height. Even though girls want to wear higher heels, I do at least. I love high heels. I think Taylor Swift does too. In this photo, she's wearing 5-inch heels. Now, she's extremely tall herself, so she's found a very tall man. Travis Kelce is 6'5", so she's finally able to wear ultra tall heels and still be shorter than her man, which is the best of both worlds when you love heels and you love feeling feminine around your man. This was her ex, the guy she broke up with this spring, Joe Alwyn. He's not short. He's 6'1", allegedly, and she's wearing flats in this picture because she wants to feel small next to him. Girls do not like feeling big next to their man, and when you're wearing too high of heels, you end up feeling dominant over your man, which is a horrible feeling. Does not feel girly. And so that is why many of us girls intentionally change our height based on the height of our man. I can't speak for everyone. I'm sure some girls love to feel authority over their man, but most women do not. We want to feel like the man is the big, strong, and control man. So we feel more that way the shorter we are. The shorter we are next to our man, the more we feel like he's in control and we get to be feminine. So that is why we adjust our heel height lower if need be. We actually want to do that. Not speaking for everyone, but I myself want to never wear heels that make me taller than my man. Now, I also have a boyfriend who's very tall, so I can have whatever heel height I want. Lucky me. But, I'm just saying, it's not to say I wouldn't go. I've dated shorter guys in the past, and I just wouldn't wear, 5 to 6 inch heels around them. Checking your comments. Oh, you like my songs as well? Yes, go search Ivory Hecker on Spotify and Apple Music. I have a few songs out. You're saying the man should wear heels if the woman wants to wear heels. Now, men's heels are called cowboy boots. And I have seen men wear some pretty tall cowboy boots. Some men even slip an insert into their shoe to make them secretly taller, which is pretty weird, because it's even a bigger turnoff if the girl finds out. Just own your height. Your confidence is the biggest thing. I'm not at all saying that women won't go for a short guy. They mainly want a confident man. Confidence equals manliness, even more than height, I would say. So just rather than being a poser and putting inserts in your shoes, just be confident. Girls will go for that. Okay, guys. I just thought I would share some insight into the female mind, since that topic was discussed. And honestly, I know a lot of you guys hate Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. I mean, yeah, she's like a Biden voter and he like promotes Pfizer, but I do like her music, and I just love stories. I love love. So I'm just excited for her new love story, honestly. I like to celebrate anything positive that I can instead of hating everyone. Don't be a hater, guys. Celebrate love where you can. With that being said, we'll probably see you guys tomorrow. Let me know what you want me to cover.